Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Beacon, a home for those who have a passion for filmmaking and the unusual. The Haunted Hinsdale House. Those who walk there do not walk alone. Paraware, apparel for the action-seeking paranormal investigator. Dragonfly art and soul for all of your magical, metaphysical, and spiritual needs. Mystery Control, your go-to feed for science, magic, true crime, the paranormal, and so much more. Niagara, one of the top rated destinations in Western New York. The Black Cat Lounge is part of the Paraflix Entertainment Network. Hey everybody, Tim Shaw here. It's so great that you're spending your Tuesday night with us. And you know what? We talked a little bit earlier about how cold it's been. And, you know, everybody's out there. And you know what I hate? I'm going to tell you what I hate. Because yours truly plowed snow for over 30 years. And it's the boo-hooing when there's 2 inches of snow on the ground. You know what? Give me a call when there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. Then I will boo-hoo with you. That's the way it works here in Western New York. But it's like, you know, what are you going to do? It's wintertime. My friend Mike Bestine, who is an Algonquin elder, he's one of the last of the wisdom keepers. I love this guy. He's just an amazing guy. I learned so much wisdom from him. And he said, you know what, Tim? He says, winter is for going and resting. He says, spring, summer, and fall, you are preparing, you are living, and then you are preparing again. He goes, that's what it is. And in the wintertime, it's time for you to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to rest, what you can accomplish. Me, gym, food, and nap. That's what I do, basically. But I am working on a new book, and I am putting together a dowsing booklet. That's what I'm doing now. Those are my two projects that I want to be able to have published by spring. So I guess I'm resting, but yet I'm not resting. But, you know, I saw something the other day about how when you retire, Wa is retired now. I am retired. And how you feel guilty about resting. I think it's something that we're ingrained. We are indoctrinated to keep going, to be progressive, to always work and push forward. And then it's time for us to be able to go and take that little breather. And it's okay to do that. It's not okay to do it for like weeks at a time, but it's good to do that. It's good to be able to go and take that time to rest. And you recuperate, and now is the time to be creative. Hands-on, spring, summer, and fall, be creative now. Guys, we have an unbelievable show tonight. Oh my God. I have, you know what? I have so much respect for our guest tonight. I have so much respect for her because, you know, it's so funny because I met her. And believe it or not, I actually kind of met her through my buddy Frank, but yet he wasn't really there. So he was there like in spirit. He was like a little, you know, sometimes Frank, for as big as he is, sometimes he can enter into the ethers. But, you know, Frank is a trainer and this lady is also a trainer. And I had just been starting back on my gym journey and we got to talk. And she said some stuff that just blew my mind. I mean, I'm here, you know, I'm me, I'm here. And I mean, she was talking and she was up in this area here. And it was so great to be able to go and really spend some time with her, but not enough time. And, you know, I got to tell you, I got a chance to really spend a couple hours with her up at Sault Ste. Marie, one of the last events we were up at. And of course, we had a kind of a someday I'll let you guys in on what happened up at the Mansfield Reformatory on a private, but it was really great. But let me tell you, let's bring her on. She's an author. She's a speaker. She is a student that, you know what she's taking in college right now blows my mind. I am just beyond anything that I can comprehend. She is she's a critical thinker, which is really great for paranormal investigators because there's so many of us out there that really aren't critical thinkers. But what I love about it is she's also a builder. She has come up with some of the most innovative devices on the paranormal market today. And I gave her, she foolishly put out and we talked about it when she was back on the show before. She foolishly went and put out a challenge. What kind of a device would you like? Well, yours truly wanted a device that was a REM pod, that was a static electricity detector with no sound, so I could use it during seance. Wouldn't you know it, that she built this device, and it's beautiful to see. It's an absolute great piece of art. But she's unbelievable, and always constantly trying to get me to go and upgrade it. And I keep telling her, no, Lauren, I don't want it upgraded. This is original. So I'll buy another one. Please, I'll take another one, but don't touch this one. This is in its purest form, and I love it. But the stuff that she works on, and we're going to talk about that tonight. So there's so many different things that I want to kind of really pick her mind on, because as you guys know, I've had Brad Bradley on, and we've talked about EVP, and we've talked about some of the science behind it. And I want to be able to go and talk to someone who, again, really understands more of the science than I do. And I want to be able to share that with everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's welcome a superstar, a true rock star of the paranormal, Lauren Hellekson. Lauren, how are you?
Hello, world.
Look at you.
I am.
And Kathy's over there going, she's an amazing person and a wonderful friend. And look at this. You brought your own fan club. Mark says Lauren is awesome.
I know, that's Doc.
I love
and
that.
Holly.
Way up there. Look at Holly. Look at this. You know what? You've got more. I go on a show.
I feel like Dorothy waking up and being like, oh, and you were there, and they're all surrounding me.
I'm just going to tell you, you may have to make a pair of paranormal ruby red slippers.
Listen, you keep talking about your pod, and I do need to make you a better version of it, because it's like when you talk about it, and I'm like, oh God, that's like when I was still figuring out stuff.
Oh my God, no, it's absolutely
like
great.
Tim, I'm like building and programming whole computers now.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of us kind of sit there, in stasis, and the rest of us, you guys are just pushing way ahead of what anything I can do. Well, and let me just
I'll show you something that I just built that actually it talks, and it's my voice. All right, go ahead.
Oh, well, that, you know what?
Yeah. You could be in a seance, and it could just be my voice going, Tim, there's something behind you.
I love it. We got to talk more about that. That's great. That's so great. Well, Lauren, you know what? I want to talk a little bit about why it's so important to understand the science behind what we're doing. A lot of times, what I'm having trouble with is people that are relying 100% upon a meter or a device without understanding how it works. And I think that's probably one of the biggest bitches that I have, because back in the day, we're going to talk back, when.
So yeah, just a little, son of a bitch.
Yeah, a little son of a bitch there, way back when, I mean, we used to go and we used to be pretty thorough. We would go and do, energy checks and, EMF checks and all this stuff. And identify trouble areas, but now they don't even know why. They don't do that anymore. Most teams that I've come across, I mean, not all, there's some really great teams out there, but a lot of teams don't even do anything like that. They go into a location, plop down, surround themselves with $1 billion worth of flashing lights. And
that's a lot of flashing lights, Tim.
Well, okay, $1 million worth of flashing lights. And $1.380. It's 2 LEDs and a battery. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about.
There we go. $25.
But what they don't understand. Why is it so important? So I'm going to ask you, as a developer, as someone who really has got we'll talk about. I was just going to morph into something else, but let me just ask you this: why is it so important for people to understand, to take the time to understand how these devices actually work and what they're really for?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm also just going to tell you, last time Tim and I were left to our own devices, I think we talked for 3 hours straight. So
yes. Yeah, we did. Yes, we did. I remember that well.
At a table at Michigan Paracon.
Yes. And I had to go and keep putting like napkins in my ears because my brains were oozing out.
Stop. No, we both had tinfoil hats on that day.
Yes, we did. That's a whole story. That's a whole story for another campfire.
Yeah, that was the time that we officially, truly found our soul connection.
Yes. Well, you know why? Because of the fact, I still remember why. Because I hunted you down because you were in demand. Everybody wanted to talk to you. And I got a chance to hunt you down, and I sat you down and said, I can't believe how well you're doing. Everything's going so great. And I made the fatal mistake of saying, what's up? What are you planning? And at that point,
famous last words.
That was the last thing I said.
And I was like, listen. Static. And you were like, ah! And then it just went from there.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. But anyway, why is it so important?
All right, I digress.
See, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, 2 people that see squirrels. And that's all I'm going to say.
You saw it here first, folks.
But why do you think that people really should take the time to understand the devices that they're using rather than just buying them blindly?
So I think a really, really big piece of the paranormal investigation puzzle that people have to take this full accountability moment with is sitting down and asking yourself exactly, writing it down, journal it, asking yourself exactly what you want from paranormal investigating. Because there's a lot of people out there that it's just like, this is fun and exciting and it's interesting and I like the blinky lights. I've had people that are just like, I'm going to be honest, I don't actually know how a proximity sensor works, but I just love the crystals on it, and darn it, it gets me excited when it makes a noise, and that's it. And I'm like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Agreed.
There's nothing wrong with just getting something because you think it's fun. There's nothing wrong with using a phone app. There's nothing wrong with exploring something that nobody, Holly has to. Yes, she's required to know how things work. There's no rule book telling somebody that they're not allowed to use a certain piece of equipment if they don't know what it's doing. Because we have so many pieces of equipment that, one, builders will gatekeep how it's actually used. So you just kind of have to trust what they're telling you. So they'll say this piece of equipment detects this natural phenomena. And then, Lauren Hellekson takes it apart and goes, that's not what that does. Boop. So there's an amount of trust that we do have to put in anyways to our developers and our builders and our programmers. So it's not this, you're not allowed to use that if you don't know how it works. So there is that portion of it. Then there is also an academic force, like an academic side to paranormal investigating. And that is where you have to not only know how something works, but you have to have the documentation stating how each piece really does work. There's a true academic, and it's not just academic because we say it's academic. I'm talking, for example, there is a team working with Rutgers University that uses what is the term that I want to use? A previous version of a piece of equipment that I sell. And they needed all of the schematics, the specs, how it works, all of this, all in a document in order to get this approved for university funding. And I have other pieces of equipment that are purchased with university funds for people's doctoral work and things like that. So in academics, I do have to say, here's how the programming is. Here is how this works. Here is all of these details. There are no complex algorithms that I can hide behind.
Right.
So there's that portion of it. And then there's the portion where we have these very we are scientific paranormal investigators and we collect evidence and we show the data and we help families. And I think that is the sort of sect of people that you can find this varying degree of knowledge, because there are no set standards in that style of paranormal investigation that requires people to prove that they know how something works, or to prove that they know what the scientific method is, or to prove how they come to the conclusions that they're concluding when it comes to an investigation. And to those people, and those are going to be the only people that I will speak a little bit more plainly and have some higher standards for, when I am picking up a piece of equipment, if I'm invited on if I'm invited to consult, or if I'm invited to an investigation and I pick up a piece of equipment and you're just using ghost jargon to tell me how it works, that's not how something works. That's not how something works.
I love that. Listen, I love that phrase, ghost jargon. I'm going to steal that from you, Lauren, because how many times how many times do we get that?
I mean, and the thing is too,
that's it.
And the unfortunate part about it too is that when you see people that are getting this very serious evidence, and I'm just going to be, I just had another podcast that was released today and it already got a hate comment. So I know that people get really frustrated when I say things like this, but unfortunately, your SB7s and your spirit boxes and your things that are very focused on the idea that ghosts are sentient beings is not objective evidence. And it's never going to be. And your voices lining up with historical context is not objective evidence. So when we think about applying science to these things that are very difficult to apply science to, so a ghost screaming in the hallway is not science. Science can give us context to how we're conducting ourselves, but it's never going to help us reach conclusions in the paranormal. It's not going to. If those conclusions include things like ghosts and spirits and phantoms, and even shadow people and things like that. And I am fascinated by all of these things. So even though I will say I don't believe in ghosts, it's not because I'm trying to say that the beliefs aren't real. It's that in a lot of the work that people want to do scientifically, you can't say that you're gathering evidence of ghosts.
Correct. You know what? Again, this is where we were talking about this off air. That's where I think it's so important that so many people are out there actually just collecting data, not looking for evidence.
Yes, and
they're looking for the patterns.
This stuff is so cool too.
Yeah,
and it's okay. And it's
I remember back years ago. We're talking 20 years ago with the Kling brothers. They were using the old data sets, and I'm sure it's almost before your time, Lauren. But these data sets.
I watched Ghost Lab.
You saw me on there.
I say with a little bit of contention.
Yeah, you saw me on there. But the idea is that.
Oh my God! I have to go back and
look. Fort Niagara. That's me. Anyway, the one thing that impressed me was the fact that they did record some anomalies on a pattern, where they actually did get a result, but they recorded the pattern separately. And while they said, we can't say that this is going to happen every time, we're going to say in this location, this pattern, this result produced a pattern. And when it peaked, something happened, whether it was a capture or something. And to me, that is true ghost hunting, rather than going and just, otherwise it's all personal experience.
Well, I will say true ghost hunting's not on television. And the why I said I loved Ghost Lab with Contention was that they had such a great basis for some fantastic content that could have been really, really educational. But man, it got so just ghosty entertainment, and it ruined so much of it, and it makes me sad.
Production companies,
and that's what it is. Yeah. So it's very hard for you to find real, like, scientific data in terms of, because it's boring.
Oh, it's boring. And that's what, and people don't want that. Let's face it. People want that thrill ride. And I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm at the point in my life where I don't really care about the thrill ride anymore. I've had the thrill ride. I've had to change my underwear. I'm still holding on to the fact
that people will like boring stuff. I am coming back to filming a series that I started on a YouTube channel called The Signal Network. Scotty the Medium, and some other creators are on there. But I'm going back because I'm in school, so it's really, really hard for me to get episodes out. So I'm doing them in like little bits of chunks. But I'm holding on for dear life that people will find some of the boring stuff interesting. So.
Well, no, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I've actually found within the last, I'd say about 3 to 4 months, small pods, and I'll say pods, not just pod people, but pods, maybe pod people, where they've actually all gone and they're like interested in the science behind it. They want to know.
I think it's growing.
Yeah, I do too. And I really think
people are done with like jump scares. And I think they're done with like the really quick conclusions, like, oh, it's haunted, or, oh, look at this amazing evidence we got in one night. And I think people are not believing that stuff, as they shouldn't. And I think they are truly interested in more of like the long game, because science, like actual outside the paranormal world science, is getting, I mean, we're reaching the expanses of the galaxy in ways that we never thought would be possible. We're seeing past like Kuiper Belt objects, we could never truly fathom what existed outside of our own solar system. And now we're coming up to the point of where we're actually seeing it secondhand with things that we are launching into space. And that is that opens up people's minds. And physics is quite literally, and this is going to be kind of controversial, but in a sense, people that are more into the physics world can understand what I'm saying when I say this. Physics is slowly starting to slow down because we are discovering things so minutely small that we don't have the technology to go smaller. Like it's unfathomable, the amounts of things that we're discovering every day. And continuously, every single week, there's something new that we're seeing, that we're discovering, that we're breaching. And people are kind of just like, I feel like ghosts have to have changed. This has had to have changed. I feel like there is really more. Are ghosts? Is it ghosts? Is it something more? You know what? Maybe it's something more. And people are interested in turning that page, and they're interested in maybe going a little bit further. And that's why I really, really like to stand on this sort of milk crate of saying, like, guys, maybe it's not dead people. And I know that a lot of people want to hold on to that. And I know that people like you and I work with Holly, and Holly is also, I like to call her creepy, but it's gifted. she's creepy though. Like,
oh, poor Holly. Holly, we love you.
When I tell you, Tim, I just got to get you to like sit with Holly sometimes. Even my husband, Holly has texted me things, And I'll look at Christopher and I'll be like, Holly just texted me this. And he's like, how does she do that? And I'm like, I don't know. She's creepy. So it's like, I have people very close to me that have these abilities and they can see things and they can like interact with things. And for me to still be able to say, guys, maybe it's not dead people though. And for somebody like Holly, who I work with all the time, and we are constantly communicating in terms of the paranormal, has even started to be like, yeah, I'm not really sure actually what it is. Maybe it's not dead people. And I'm like, that's, yes, yeah, I'm creepy. She is kind of creepy. In the best way possible. I love you to the ends of time, Holly. But
you know, I have to agree with you that because of the fact
those are doors that we need to open. It's very uncomfortable.
I've had more of an epiphany this year, or I should say,
that's what you were saying. That's what you were saying.
What I have found is that, again, brought up Roman Catholic, but mostly spiritualist, having gone through so much within that church, within the National Spiritual Association of Churches, buying in to all of the propaganda and all of the, you know, the Morris Pratt Institute of Spiritualist continuing
it's
education,
indoctrination.
and all this stuff. And having gone and believed that 100%, and then within the last, I would say, full year, and then this year, starting to go and say, but what is that? Is it a ghost? Is it a spirit of someone that's there? What is that? Is it like almost like a hologram of somebody's thought? Is it something that is imprinted? Is it intelligent? Is it not intelligent? Is it just residual? Is it? And there's 1,001 things out there. Why is this causing it? Why can't we go and pull these spirits in all the time? And as a medium, that's something that I've wrestled with. I truly wrestle with that. And the more I start talking with people like yourself, Brad Bradley and his crew, the more I am like on that fence. I'm walking a razor's edge, because I've got to go and I've got to live personally in two worlds. And it's hard for me to, I wear my heart on my sleeve, as you know, and I will go and it's like, you know, I will tell people what I think, which is what separated me and why I'm no longer a part of the church that I once belonged to. And it's because of the fact that I just can't buy this stuff. And so that kind of leads us into the next question, something we were just started talking about. What about this whole thing about, can we be skeptical? Can we be critical thinkers, yet still
Tim,
be
I'm going to stop you right
believers?
there.
I'm going to stop.
We are not going to pair. We're not pairing the term. And I already kind of will get into, now this is, I'll get into fights with people about this sometimes, because I do say I like make people angry, and I'm not meaning to make people angry, but I need people to hear me out more when I say things like this.
Yes.
I do not like the term skeptic in terms of the paranormal. And I'll tell you why. Because I think it has gotten out of hand, that skepticism has turned into a title that somebody has to keep. And
yes. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. And like the root, like skepticism is supposed to be something that, number one, we are all skeptical. We're all skeptical naturally. It is like a survival instinct.
We should be. We should be. There's too many people out there that just take everything pablum fed.
No. Human beings by nature, we are by nature skeptical because it is a survival instinct. Now, whether we're applying this to like our critical thinking is different. Right. But like being aware and also questioning your surroundings, finding the danger points, things like that, that is an evolutionary trait. Right. So we have evolved to have skepticism. And the funny thing about it too is that even this safety net that we hold on to dearly in the paranormal of ghosts and spirits and the way things have always been, and I know what that is, and I know what this shadow person is, and I know that that was a voice, and I know that that's Sarah, and I know that that's John Paul on the third floor, and that is also almost like another sort of evolved trait that humans have of us blanketing things with our comfort and not allowing us to, one, feel like we don't know, because it makes us feel vulnerable. And we're very skeptical of feeling vulnerable, because our skepticism and our sort of like danger and this sort of like, we don't want to feel like we don't know, because that is danger to me. So I'm going to be very skeptical of that feeling. So no, thank you. When we should be very skeptical of all of the stories that are literally passed to us. And I'm sorry, full offense, we're just sort of regurgitating back up and saying that it's the paranormal and we've discovered it. Well, I got evidence of it. I got evidence of John in the basement. I've got evidence of little Timmy coming down the hallway with his ball. I have evidence of it. So, that's our safety talking. That's our defense mechanisms of not wanting to feel like we don't know, wanting to feel safe, wanting to feel like we are evolved and we, have this authority on things. And instead of that, the critical thinking point and actually being a skeptic is not by saying, I don't believe. Being a skeptic is saying, I don't know yet. And that is such a powerful place to be.
That's a true mark of a skeptic. Lauren, I met the late Joe Nichols. Joe Nichols was a magician and he was a world-class skeptic. And when I got a chance to go in there, and I was working as a film, I was a cameraman. And afterwards we talked. And at Lilydale, growing up, when he come in, everybody was like, "Oh my God, the skeptic is here! Oh dear God!" It was like Satan himself.
Like it's like a killjoy. And I used to jokingly say I was the killjoy, but it was just because I didn't want to align with what the belief was. Exactly. And it's like, that doesn't make me a killjoy, that it doesn't. You know what? I need to stop being so afraid to be like, hey, I think it's really cool that you're a psychic, but like, I don't believe in ghosts, but let's work together.
Exactly. Well, he said to me, and Calvin Von Crush is another guy he's a skeptic, and he said the same thing to me.
Wait a minute. My Calvin?
I'm afraid. I'm afraid. Do you have an Annabelle? Yes.
Calvin is one of my wonderful, lovely, close friends, and I love him to actual bits and pieces.
I have one too.
Yes.
But you know what I loved about the two of them?
Becky and Galentine introduced me to Calvin, and he's just such a special person.
Yeah, Becca is a great person too.
But yes.
What I learned, and I couldn't believe. Now, I've read most of Joe Nichols' works, and they just tear everything apart, right? They explain everything really in a scientific, logical sense of paranormal and miracles and that sort of thing. And he said to me before I left, and we were talking, he said to me, he goes, "I'm going to tell you something. If I ever find anything that I can't explain by science, by magic, by whatever, and I take it apart and I can't explain to it, I'm going to say to you, I don't know. I will accept it as is, as a possibility." And Calvin's the same way. And I thought to myself, my God, this is like
Calvin and I have so many tinfoil hat conversations. So many. And it's not even about whether we believe the things or not. Sometimes he'll just send me, I don't know, like physics clickbait just to be a jerk. But then we'll tear it apart. We'll be like, what if this was possible? Good. What would this look like? And I love him to pieces.
But you know what I mean? When you think about it in those terms, and that's what kind of, I'm going to be honest with you, that's what kind of a little crisis of faith in what I do in the spiritualist realm, because of the fact that I look at it and say, well, there's been a lot of fraud, and there's been a lot of magic, and there's a lot of stuff out there that isn't really true. And yet somewhere inside of me, and it's ingrained, and I know it's something that is part of my lizard brain, that I am out there going and just like, I know that there's something more. There's just something out there more. And I can't explain it, but I can accept it. And, you know, I thought to myself, if a guy like Joe Nichols can accept something that maybe I'm having a problem with, but I accept whatever's going on, then I can too. And that's why I always tell people, it's like, be a skeptic, be skeptical of everything. If you come to me for a reading, let me just tell you,
I am more impressed. I am so much more impressed by people that gather a whole bunch of data and don't come to some sort of conclusion and pride themselves on like, I don't know, but this is sure is interesting.
Yep.
That's why I love new investigators. They haven't developed that ego where they think that they need to know what something is.
Exactly.
Like they need to come to that conclusion by the end of the investigation or by the end of the week or by the end of the month, instead of just like slowly developing through your experiences. Because like your experiences, you can have experiences and honor those experiences and still be a skeptic. You can be like, I have seen a shadow figure. I have had things happen to where I'm like, holy shit, that wasn't there. I went back on a flashlight and it was gone. I have had lights turn on and off. I saw my mother a month or two after she died. Kathy and I were driving and I looked over and my mom was in my passenger seat and it was Kathy and I almost crashed. Kathy, do you remember that? And I almost crashed my car. Like I have had so many interactions, but I will still sit down and people will be like, how can you have experiences like that? And then just with your whole chest be like, well, I don't believe in ghosts. And I'm like, because to me, that is such a simple, boxed in way. Why do I want to explain something so quickly? If we can explain that so quickly, excuse my language, why the hell isn't this an actual science then? If we're so quick to know, oh, that's this and this and this and this, usually I'm just kind of like, okay.
Well, that was, again, spiritualists. One of the dogma, one of the big rules in the dogma, Declaration of Principles, is they say, and it's part of what, it's like standing up to say the Our Father. You recite these things, and it's like spiritualism is a science proved by, the outward expression or whatever. And it's like, I can't say that because of the fact that I don't believe it is a science. I have a problem even calling it a pseudoscience. A science, I believe that.
Yeah, I didn't even use pseudoscience anymore.
I mean, I'm a true believer in paranormal investigation and personal experiences.
Yeah.
Go record both of them and let somebody make their own conclusions.
Let somebody just collect them. Collect them without bias. Collect them as stories and don't put a story to your data, because you know what? That you can be documenting so many things, and as long as we're not shoving some sort of story on top of it, there are generations, coming up that could maybe look back on these things and be like, holy crap, I want to study this more. And it's like, oh, is there context to that? Be like, no, there's just a place and that's it. Agreed. There's nothing else. It's just this, piece of data right here. And we want to know the story so badly that we're willing to lie to ourselves to get there.
Yeah, oh my God. Yeah. I agree 100% because of the fact
it's religious indoctrination. It's the exact same thing. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry, but I don't have like a God belief system. I don't work with deities or anything like that. But it's the same reason why humans reach to God. It's because that is a very clean, simplistic explanation for the things that we don't understand. And that's okay. Faith is beautiful. Having a faith in something's gorgeous. It's wonderful. You are your magic, all of that stuff, all of that power. But like, we can't shove that sort of religious indoctrination into a lab coat to try to validate ourselves into this, like, we've solved it, because that's not how that works. And that's why I started college at 40.
You mean at 20? You're not 40. You're at 20.
I mean, 19. I do tell my husband, I'm like, how do you feel that you're dating a college freshman? And he's like, ew, stop.
I could just see him rolling his eyes.
I say it just like that too. And he just goes,
yeah,
it's great.
Beyond it. Listen, Lauren, we only got 20 minutes left. I mean, I can't believe how fast this goes with us. You know,
better lengthen it.
You're one of these people that I love to talk to. Now, as a developer, as someone who develops these devices, what do you kind of think about when you're doing it? Why are you looking to improve something? Are you looking to go and maybe put something different together? How do you look? What is your vision when you decide to develop something?
So there's two avenues that I work from. So if I'm making something that I am planning on having to be a retail piece, which I'm so sorry, everybody, I'm not doing that anytime soon right now. I do have my like standard pieces, and there's like one or two others in the works. Honestly, those are me just improving on the very simple atmospheric environmental trigger devices that we already use. And I'm trying to introduce them in a different way, because right now, most of the pieces that I make, people use them as communication pieces. Right. And that's not what they are. So I try to.
Oh, yes.
I try to introduce pieces that are already out there. I just try to make them a little bit more secure and a little prettier. But I also, I include, a manual that I write for everything and lots of information online about how this is not a communication piece. This is not a turn on and can you touch the antenna if you're here? Not what they're for. And I give some context on like how to use these devices. I wrote an academic paper that I presented at the Gettysburg Symposium about something called the kinetic KSE. I'm like, what was it called? The KSE method, which is kinetic, static, and electromagnetic. And it has nothing to do with ghosts. It has nothing to do with communicating. It has nothing to do with walking in and talking to spirits, which is what a lot of these pieces are used for. So there's that avenue where I am just trying to improve easily accessible, simple devices that we can just set up more as this array of notification in a space of when things are changing, when environments are changing, and we need to pay attention.
Exactly.
And then on the other side of it, the woo-woo side, is when I take, and it's the side that has now, so I am a physics and an astronomy major. And as an astronomy major, I will be already learning coding and the coding that's used to actually program the satellites and things like that go out into space. And I already have been learning this programming language as a part of my work in building like computers in the paranormal. So I take experiences. I just actually re-put out a question that I had asked before for some social data about what people see, hear, and experience if they've ever seen a shadow figure phenomena. So I'll take experience-based phenomena, shadow figures, voices, even like full body apparitions, or like different things that are isolated events that people can experience in paranormal investigation. And I will take the symptoms, I'll call them symptoms, and I will see if I can find parallels of those things in natural phenomena. And this is both on like subatomic level all the way up to like astronomy level. So different kinds of phenomena, and see if there are parallels. And if I find some parallels enough that I'm like, okay, we can go in this direction, then I'll start to put together more of this sort of like computer system array of pinpointing these different symptoms in order to try to isolate events, not to find ghosts, but to take a deeper look at what's happening in a situation when these kinds of things appear. And if we can isolate those situations in order to take a better look at them, in order to see them more closely, or to be able to say, well, you know what? I noticed that when this happens and this air pressure falls and this, sort of temperature deviation happens or whatever, people are noticing something like this. And the only way that that matters is if you're able to do this over and over and over again to a point where you can find repeatable and predictable frameworks, which is, that's the biggest impossibility. And anybody that says that they have a framework that is predictable, repeatable, and they can do on command at a location, call me, because I don't believe you. That's the biggest sort of breach in the paranormal and science. That's why paranormal investigation has to have its own little, like, the psychical research. It has its own little, like, parascience, which isn't a branch of science, guys. That branch, that parapsychology, parascience, psychical research is its own little fringe group, because there is no documented, peer-reviewed phenomena that is testable, repeatable, and predictable. And that's where I'm like, well, cool, then let's keep trying to do it. And that's where I am. And it's fun and it's a good time. And I build computers for it. And I get to learn a coding language that I'm going to be using in physics and in astronomy. And I'm trying to be a bridge, which is hilarious because I did film a miniseries called The Bridge Between Dimensions. Go check out the trailer on my website. A bridge, not to bring science and paranormal together, but to just maybe close the gap a little bit more by really focusing on the things that we can, where we can measure what we can admit what we can't, and we're wondering responsibly. That's like my new tagline for 2026, is not bringing stories to the lab coat, but honoring the stories, because that is the basis of the paranormal. Honoring the stories, honoring the experiences. Yes. But not saying, I'm going to do science with this EVP. Saying, you know what? What are the characteristics of sound? And I had a whole episode on this too. Like, what are the characters? What happens when sound happens? What is sound? How does sound travel? What can sound travel through? And those are the things that we can measure. I can't measure whether or not a ghost is talking to me, but I can measure air pressure. I know that sound needs a medium to travel through. I know that we can't hear sounds from other dimensions because it can't travel through the vacuum of space. Like, I know these things, and those are the things that I can measure. I can't, unfortunately, measure if Tom said, get out, on my digital recorder. So that's kind of where I try to isolate when it comes to that. That's like the difficult, technical, woo-woo, crazy side. So that's why I don't really think it's so crazy,
Lauren, because I really feel that I think it's important to have that belief system but it has to be isolated. And I think And my problem is with so many different groups is the fact that it's all or nothing. It's like they come out and they're telling you that there's no possibility. There's nothing else. It is.
I get told that I'm disrespectful to the history because I don't want to know the history. I'm disrespectful to the ghosts because I don't want to know the ghosts. And I'm like, that's not what I'm doing, though. No, I'm actually being incredibly respectful because I'm not trying to have this bias when I'm looking around for things. Like, hex to Betsy's, forbid that ghosts aren't real. And we're out here like just screaming into the void with these people that are just trying to be dead. And it's something completely different that we've centered ourselves as human beings, or it's aliens laughing at us, it's one or the other. But like, it's okay. I spent a little bit of time when I was trying to go heavy into research and like writing that paper and things like that, where I was questioning myself. I was like, should I even be in the paranormal? Do I even like really believe in this stuff? I was like psyching myself out of it. And I'm like, we got to have a balance here, which is why I was like, you know what? You're going to have like, I get my like woo-woo allowance where I just get to, where I have to be like very strictly, because I do have to be very strictly academic and scientific when it comes to like science communication in physics and in astronomy. I can't be, you can't be woo-woo there. And I actually had to have an interview with like the head of the astronomy department when it came to me working at the planetarium in order to like do star talks and things like that too. Like I can't be woo-woo all the time. And I'm like, but you know what? I don't have to be science all the time either. I can have, if I want to be a little bit of a closer bridge in these two, I have to know how to stand in both worlds objectively. And that is not validating people's ghost stories as science. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to say, oh, little Timmy's haunting the third floor. That's science. But I am going to ask more difficult questions. I am going to have much higher standards of people that are out here in the paranormal saying that they're doing science. And I'm going to want to see the work. And that's what I can give.
I agree. Well, you know, again, I don't think it's up to us to be the preacher. If I wanted to go back and be a preacher again, I would go and do it. But it's the idea that there's no absolutes. And what people are preaching now are all absolutes. It's either one or the other. There's no gray area in the middle.
Yep. If you don't believe in this, then you know you're not
exactly. So
right.
I think that what we have to do is we have to sit down objectively and we have to separate the two worlds. And there's a lot of people out there that are preaching that they're scientifically based, but they're running around with a DR60 going and saying, well, this is absolute proof. Or I have a video, audio and video will not lie because, and I'm thinking to myself, what are you talking about,
like,
dude?
Cool. I want to see all your data. I think that's so cool. I love a good ghost story, but like, I'm going to want you to explain to me how that's science.
But that's it. A lot of people are out there saying that they like to talk a good game, but they don't have the science to back it up.
That's why I'm getting a bachelor's in physics, Tim. That is exactly why I decided not to, no offense to engineers, not to become an engineer, because you don't get enough of the physics portion of academics when you go to engineering school. When I was going to be an electrical engineer is what I started out my degree with. And then the whole like physics side was very light. And I'm like, that's the kind of the part that I want. So I switched and it's physics, astronomy with a minor in mathematics, because all of these sort of cosplaying physicists, people aren't realizing how much math is involved with the things that they're claiming, to the point of where it's like, if you can't show me the equations that you're working with, or even like the equations of just this very simplistic thing that you're claiming, you're just telling stories, bud.
But that's exactly it. And that's what I've been finding more and more people
Physics
do.
Without the math is just a fluffy story.
I've been hearing nothing but fluffy stories for the last year or so.
I know.
And we're at that point now where we need to be able to go and kind of separate it. And we have to start looking at these things seriously. Either A, kind of go and work with your religion and your spirituality, or B, look for those patterns. Look for them. Have that goal set. Yeah.
It's totally okay to just be in the paranormal for fun, y'all. Like, there's no problem with that. I'm specifically talking to, and also what Peg just said. Yes, I agree with you, which is literally that's why I changed my academic path.
Exactly. So people,
Peg, physics is so wild, and astronomy too. But
I love Peg. Peg was one of the movers and shakers of a wonderful paleontology area called the Penn Dixie Dig, and it's all about
right. That's dinosaurs, right?
So yeah, so she's
Peg. Have you seen my demonic dinosaur?
We're talking Devonian period, so we're talking pre-dinosaur.
Oh.
We're talking pre-dinosaur. That's funny.
I can't believe he makes all of this.
Yeah, I know he does. He's something.
This is not a retail piece off the shelf. He just makes this. Oh, thanks, Jeff. You can find this on laurenhans.com, actually. And there's various colors. This is actually the alchemical symbol for phosphorus, which is what was used in place of spirit because it is, of its luminescence. So there's some Victorian fun facts for you. But yes, this is an original ghost hunter design. You want to know a fun fact about this sweatshirt? Amy Burney has one.
Of course she does. Of course she does. And you want to know, would you like to go and have a little fun fact about phosphorus and the mediumship?
Yes, yeah, because oh my God, Tim, you're opening up a door right now because we do have to sit down and we have to talk about how deeply alchemical symbols and psychic research, alchemy, and astronomy.
Well, back in the day, we all know about Maggie and Katie Fox, correct? We all know about them being the pioneers of spiritualism. Well, they were
the first social media influencers of the spiritualism, not the first spiritualists.
No, but they were definitely because we do have Mother Ann Lee of the Shakers, who was a prophet and that sort of thing. So there's a lot out there besides them. But did you know that the older daughter, Lee lived in Rochester, New York, and
my dad's from Rochester.
And that was the hotbed of spiritualism and the Mother Church, actually, one of the very first church organizations were out there. But Lee all of a sudden became a medium. All of a sudden. And what happened was she got caught with phosphorus on her hands during a seance. Making things glow.
Little chemist.
Yes, a little chemist back in the day.
Little chemistry trick.
And that was something that was very, very common. So
I love it.
And again, I mean,
deeper meaning now. Deeper meaning.
See, stick with me, kid. I've got all this arcade knowledge that.
Oh man, I love that. That just makes it even cooler now. I have to share it with somebody.
I got to get you one of these. Somebody now,
But I know I'm gonna have to bring you one of these sweatshirts now.
I love it. Listen, we're almost out of time. Tell everybody about your devices. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, to follow you, and what is going on, where you're going to be appearing in the wonderful world of Lauren Haunts.
Oh, my Lanta. LaurenHaunts.com has everything. Although I will say, best place to find me, like in person, I'll be announcing those on Facebook. Where am I going to be next? May's coming up. I think May is the next time me and you have something together.
We'll be up at Mansfield.
We'll be up at Mansfield
together. Yes.
So I think that's the only thing that I have coming up. So I'll be in New Jersey at the beginning of May for New Jersey Paracon. And I will be speaking at that event as well too. And then I'll be at Parapsychon. I'll be speaking at that event as well. I'm not doing a.
I think you should do a gallery with me.
So I can just be like, who just changed their brakes on their car? Go check them. Guys, that is a real thing that Tim said to somebody in a gallery reading. And the guy was like, oh, holy shit.
Because he came up to me later and he goes, I had them change. He goes, and all of a sudden they're starting to squeak. And I'm going,
so funny. So funny. No, I'll probably be at your gallery just to come watch because I think it's awesome. No, I told Greg I was getting real weird. And honestly, the talk that I'm doing this year is very, it's like what we talked about tonight, but a little bit more tinfoil hatty. I let a little bit of my weird come out, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of my theories and parallels in physics that I like to talk about. Jeremy said, where in New Jersey is the New Jersey Paracon? It is at White Hill Mansion in Fieldsboro, New Jersey. And I will be there. Heather Taddy will be there. Who else is going to be there? Brian Cano is there. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst person ever.
Literally who's who.
And
you're going to be there, and that's
it's
all that
a
counts.
really great lineup, and it's all to benefit White Hill Mansion. The Friends of White Hill Mansion. So we raise money for that location, and I try to only really appear at events that are either benefiting.
I do too now.
The location themselves, the preservation of historically registered locations. So not like the random haunted house Paracons or something, but like registered historic locations. Or I do Madison Seminary has MadCon, and it is oh my gosh, I'm like brain farting so hard right now. We raise money for Holly. Where are you? Holly, where are you? What do we raise money for? Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm the worst person ever. But anyways, it's for a family and their son suffers from this disease, and we raise money for that foundation.
Yeah, Chris, and I can't think of his last name. That's the dad. Friend of Adam.
Yes, and they're so wonderful, and we're almost to like $100,000 that we have raised for this organization that benefits children. And so there's that. Historic locations, Parapsychon, I'm so excited about, of course, per usual, always excited. I was going to be at Lily Dale's event in August. I will not be there this year.
Neither will I.
Oh, see, we'll just have to go there together. We'll just have to go visit your childhood home. And then I will be out again at the Ritz in New Jersey as well, also benefiting a historic location with Dave Giuliano. We're doing an event together, him and I. By him and I mean, I told him he was coming with me, and he was like, okay. And that's our event.
That's Dave. I
was like, Dave, what are you doing the weekend of, I think it's like June? And he was like, nothing. And I was like, nah, yeah, bring Missy. And he was like, okay.
I love it.
Cystic fibrosis. Thank you, Holly.
Yes.
Thank you.
They're wonderful there. They're absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Lauren, the hour has passed.
I know. Like per usual. It's come and gone every time.
Now, can everybody understand why when Lauren and I get together, we sit there and we talk for hours? I mean, literally hours, until we both look at each other and go,
nobody has eaten, gotten up, or gone to the bathroom. Like, should we take a break?
No, there's no break.
And then after an hour after that, then maybe we take a break.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is. We both get to the point where we can't even talk anymore. I absolutely love
no complaints here.
That's one of my favorites. Stick on the line. I want to thank you properly off the air. Every show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. And every time, and I got to tell you something, Lauren, and from the bottom of my heart, and you know that I'm not a bullshitter. I'm not going to blow smoke up anybody's ass. You know how I am. I got to tell you, every time we speak, every time we talk, I always feel better. And it's not because of your bubbly personality or your aura. Wait a minute, I have to put my sunglasses on because you're just too bright. It's because of the fact that you're illuminating in a mental sense, because of the fact that I love the fact that you are so organized. You talk on so many different subjects, but you make these very, very difficult topics accessible without pandering to the lowest common denominator. And I think that is probably the hallmark of a great speaker, a great instructor. And really, it's just, you're just one of those people that I always enjoyed talking to. And
I appreciate you.
And
I know nobody really knows that about me. I'm a fitness instructor. I actually have to be up at 5 a.m. to go train people in the morning.
But that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's
careful,
the way
guys.
It should be. That's the way it should
too much. I'm bringing them out.
I love it. Okay, I'll be right back, kiddo. Be back in a couple seconds. Lauren is probably one of the most intelligent people I know. I'm blessed to know her because of the fact that she really opens my eyes and makes me think about certain things that I've taken for granted for all these years. And I love it. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. We'll be back next Tuesday. And guess what? You've been listening to me, Tim Shaw, Black Cat Lounge. Where else? Where the elite meet, next to the dumpster transfer station. Ciao, babies. See you soon. Stay warm, stay healthy, and know that you have to be kind to each other because no one else is going to do it but you. Bye-bye.